You've tuned into The Break Room, a weekly conversation about how the city of St. Augustine works from those who do the work every day. Hosted by the City of St. Augustine's Communications Manager, Melissa Wissel, The Break Room offers a closer look at the city's programs and provides updates on current and upcoming projects. And now your host for The Break Room, Melissa Wissel.
Welcome to The Break Room. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Melissa Wissel, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. This week I'm sharing The Break Room with Jenny Wolf, Historic Preservation Officer for the nation's oldest city. Jenny, thank you for being here.
I'm happy to be here with you.
Welcome back to The Break Room. It is May, and May is Historic Preservation Month.
Yes, happy Historic Preservation Month.
And
that's something we are excited to celebrate.
It's been a bit of a different celebration this year. We've had some extenuating circumstances, otherwise known as COVID-19.
Yes, it has been a little bit different, and we got a little bit delayed in starting off with Preservation Month, but we're getting right in there with some fun activities.
I have to admit, the start of May came in about whatever that May 4th was. I went, ooh, it's Preservation Month. I've got to get Jenny in here. So
yes,
tell us a little bit about how things have maybe somewhat stayed the same for your department, but also I know you still have to keep going, and you do have a lot to celebrate with historic preservation. So take it away.
We do. And in St. Augustine, we're so lucky. We have a lot to be proud of. So to be doing preservation in St. Augustine and to be celebrating historic preservation this month is something that we really want to get on the bandwagon with and let people know what's going on, because there has been some exciting things going on. And as you said, some of it is just business as usual. In my department, we are still doing permit reviews. We're still doing site visits with contractors, practicing the safe social distancing, of course, because we want to make sure that people are moving forward on their construction projects. And we're also issuing permits, and we're doing virtual hard meetings, which has been a learning curve.
We've had virtual city commission meetings and planning and zoning.
And we've had a hard meeting.
And you have. How did that go?
I actually think it went really well. Good. I was surprised that we didn't have any major hiccups. We had everybody there ready to go, and we actually got through the whole agenda in a couple of hours.
Seems to be everybody's adapting to this new normal.
And they've been really receptive. I think that people in our community are just naturally resilient, and I think that we just want to achieve, and we want to do as much as we can that's business as usual.
And like you mentioned, permitting, building, construction, there are a lot of projects that can still continue, because even by the nature of construction and those types of projects, you can space out, you can still be working, you can be outside. You've got plenty that can still be done. What are some of the things that you're still working on?
Well, we still have some grant projects that we're closing out for June. We've got our Resilient Heritage Grant. They've been plugging along forward, getting ready to launch some type of public access where we can start meeting with folks. Maybe it's virtually or maybe it's through a survey, but we'd like to gather some public input on that. So that kind of slowed down just a little bit, but otherwise the team has been still moving forward. And the other one is we've still been doing the West Augustine and Fort Mose architectural survey. And that fieldwork was done prior to the main COVID issues. So they were able to wrap most of their fieldwork up. And now they're the consultants working from home or from the office as they can to finish that project. But the other really exciting thing is that we are in the middle of consultation and negotiation processes for our National Park Service grants.
Wow.
So we have $400,000 of grant work that's going to be coming into the city. No match was required. So we're able to get started on those projects by selecting consultants. And we are going to be doing some updating of our historic resource inventories, meaning the National Register designations, and also doing some mitigation planning documents.
Wow.
So that's going to be coming along in the next few months.
That's quite a bit. Go back with me for a minute here. Remind our listeners about the West Augustine Fort Mose, that we did a little bit of a public outreach, asking people to share their stories. How did that go?
We actually got some really neat stories coming back in. Some stories that we're trying to go back and track down and corroborate to see if there are other references or other people we should be speaking with. But we did get a lot of people that were interested, people that are really proud and want to share more information about West Augustine.
Their heritage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's been largely unsurveyed. So that part is really exciting.
Talk a little bit about the Resilient Heritage. I've been in some of those collaborating meetings because of where I fit in terms of public information. That's a really interesting project of how we share our spots around the city.
It is, and it's really comprehensive because we're looking at all of our historic resources in the city, which can mean buildings, monuments, districts, and archaeological sites. So we're not just looking at what's tangible above ground, but we are looking at holistically into how we need to prioritize documenting those resources most at risk. What is the economic impact of our past flooding events and future impacts? And it's not just looking at how those impact the buildings, but how does it income our economy?
Right.
And once we can get data that ties that down, we can better facilitate and leverage other funding sources to help us keep moving that forward, because the Resilient Heritage Project is so comprehensive. It's going to come out with some recommendations that we're going to need to work more on. So it's not going to be a project that's really going to end.
And I've always found historic preservation fascinating, new to that industry myself personally. Historic preservation, if you were to have asked me that several years ago, I would have assumed it to be rehabbing buildings. There's so much more to historic preservation.
There is, and I think the biggest thing that we learned when we did the Historic Preservation Master Plan is that what we find in St. Augustine is that what's important to most people here is community. And it's how can we celebrate what is special about our community. And your community could be your street. It could be your whole neighborhood. It could be the whole city. It could be your culture, your people. Who do you associate with that really makes up what is this special melting pot of St. Augustine?
And that word community is so true, because I think from an outsider looking in, we find ourselves subject to being this great destination for tourism, but we've also found it to be, this is our home. This is our community. And we always want to feel like, at least from where you and I sit, that we're here for the residents, for the people that are here day in, day out, year in, year out. This is our home. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, we're very passionate people about it.
So we are here. You are listening to The Break Room. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. This week in The Break Room, I have the pleasure of speaking with Historic Preservation Officer Jenny Wolf. If you have missed part of this broadcast and want to tune in and listen from the beginning, or if you'd like to hear any past interviews, visit us on the web at citystonaugradio.com. Jenny, because it's May, Historic Preservation Month, the last couple of years, I have been introduced to what I consider to be one of a signature projects for historic preservation that we hear a lot about and then we don't hear a lot about. And I think as you and I were talking, you feel like you could call this a signature project of your ongoing career. Tell us about the Waterworks.
Yes, well, I am glad that you asked, because this is something that for my career in St. Augustine has been really special. It's something that I feel like I've been able to make a difference in an actual brick and mortar project. When I came to the city, it had already been decided to abandon it and board it up and make it safe, because we didn't have the funds to do all the restoration work that was needed. So when I came in, it had been sitting there, and it's in such a prime location. Fortunately, grant funds started coming out again, and so we worked to secure hundreds of thousands of dollars in grant funds that the cities had to match, but we are going into a third phase of construction in a few months. So what we are going to be working on are some of the nice finishing touches. So it's not just making the building safe, it's making it look like and feel like a historic building from the inside and out.
And let's make sure we know what folks listening know what we're talking about. The Waterworks building is that mysterious brick structure right next to.
right next to the library and next to the transportation circle.
Right, and the formerly known as Carousel
Yes,
is no longer there.
That's correct. That's correct. So hopefully that will be coming back. But this building will definitely help to reactivate some of that missing link because one of the aspects of this project is to reconstruct the music platform, which is on the south side of the building, closest to where the carousel was and the playground. And it's a great opportunity to connect with the space of the library, the neighborhood, the park, if that can be some type of venue for either small outdoor seating, little concerts, speaking engagements, any kind of community situation could be held there. But we're also going to be on the inside, working on the terrazzo flooring, working on all the plaster finishes. And we've actually taken folks on a virtual tour of that building because we do normally like to showcase an insider tour of that building. But as it is this year, we went virtual, and we're excited to share that with you and let you know what's going to be coming up.
It's a fascinating building. I have been inside it, and it is one of those that you drive by, and it kind of has, like you say, it for so long had that abandoned, do not enter,
chain link fencing, scaffolding, vines growing up the side of it. Yes.
And there's been even things, I remember the windows were removed, and that was...
Yes. They were removed and fully restored. The doors on the front and the back, the roof was all taken off and redone. The exterior brick walls on two sides were completely deconstructed and reconstructed so that they were structurally sound. So it's been a big project. So we're happy to share that for Historic Preservation Month in a virtual way.
And we'll have a video for that virtual tour coming.
That's correct.
Okay, it'll be on the website when we get it ready.
Yes. We also have several other ways you can celebrate Historic Preservation Month.
Okay.
It started, just so everyone knows, is something that started by the National Trust in the 70s. And they have recommended 5 things you can do to promote historic preservation. One is using the hashtag This Place Matters, even if you don't do it socially, but just share with your friends. What's an important place to you? What do you think is significant? Whether it's here in St. Augustine or wherever you are, share that heritage. And also to tell the full story. The National Trust has been working very hard alongside the National Park Service to make funding available to show off more diversity. So explore what's diverse in your community and get out there and learn more and be open. Shopping local, which we love to promote here in St. Augustine. We have a lot of those opportunities, as well as dining local. We have a lot of historic buildings that you can do both. So that's so easy to support preservation in that manner. And as we were talking about communities, just educate yourself, donate, give time, give money, become a member of either the Flora Trust, the National Trust, and find out what you can do more in your community to celebrate its heritage.
We have those types of neighborhoods right here. We have Uptown, we have Nelmar, we have Fort Mose is up there at the north end of town. Old City South, Lincolnville, all of it.
Yes.
We have so much here, just literally in our own backyards.
It's amazing with the town of just 14-some thousand people that we have so much diversity.
That's wonderful. Well, Jenny, thank you for coming and sharing with us your obvious love and passion for historic preservation. We're going to do our part to make sure we continue to get the word out this month on our social media. You've given us some really fun things to post. We posted some of your postcards.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was wonderful. So be on the lookout for what we're doing to help get that promoted for you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
As we wrap up another edition of The Break Room, I hope we answered your questions. And if we didn't, take a minute to drop an email. Send it to info@citysanog.com. Let me know what I missed or if there's someone you would like to hear from. We want to keep you informed about what's happening in and around the city, and most importantly, that you hear it here from the people doing the work and making it happen every day. Remember that in order to stay connected, you need to be connected. So like us and follow us on any of our social media platforms. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City St. Aug. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.
You've been listening to The Break Room, a weekly program about projects and programs offered by the City of St. Augustine. We hope you'll join us each week as host Melissa Whistle and her guests have a conversation that helps you better understand how our city works to meet the needs of our community. See you next time on The Break Room.